They humiliated him for being poor, but the useless husband was actually a billionaire. "Get your grubby little mitts off my car," the salesman barked. "It's a Lamborghini, not a dumpster truck." "I just wanted to rent it," Charlie softly replied. "It's my anniversary. I wanted to surprise my wife with something special." "Guys like you don't drive cars like this, you clean them," the salesman sneered. "Maybe take her out in a dumpster truck." "Why don't you do your damn job?" Charlie said, holding his ground. "You're a salesman, right? Now show me the car." "Piss off, loser," the salesman spat. "I work for people who can afford luxury, not for a broke-ass nobody like you." "I've got the cash," Charlie shot back, bringing out a wad of cash. "And I'm not leaving this place without that Lamborghini." From his office, the manager had been watching it all unfold. He was just about to step in when the back door creaked open. "Do you have any idea who that young man is?" a cold voice rang out. The manager turned to see a man in an Armani suit step out of the shadows. "Mr. Stephen Thompson," the manager gasped. "It's an honor to have you—" "Cut the crap," Stephen snapped. "Hand over the Lamborghini keys to that man, now." "To that guy?" the manager scoffed, glancing toward Charlie. "He looks like he wandered in by mistake. That loser clearly can't afford the Lamborghini." Stephen's eyes narrowed. "Who do you think keeps this place running?" "You do, Mr. Stephen," the manager replied stiffly. Stephen leaned in, voice low and cold. "Would you believe me if I told you that loser is the reason your doors are still open?" The manager froze. His eyes darted back to Charlie, color draining from his face. "But he's just—" the manager stammered. "He's nobody, isn't he?" Stephen didn't blink. "He's more than you'll ever be. And if I hear you breathe wrong around his name, I'll make sure this showroom turns into a parking lot. You have 5 minutes to fix this," Stephen warned, "or you won't have a rental to come back to tomorrow." He turned to leave, then paused. "And don't you dare tell him I was here." Then, just before stepping into the shadows again, Stephen added under his breath, "The city's already his. They just don't know it yet." The manager bolted out of the office, keys in hand. The salesman spotted him approaching. "Sir, I've got this under control," the salesman said smugly. "I was just throwing this loser out." "Get out," the manager snapped. "Yeah, get out, you loser," the salesman barked at Charlie. "Not him," the manager growled, turning to the salesman. "You, pack your shit. You're fired." "What?" the salesman froze. "But sir, what did I— Is this how you treat our top clients?" the manager barked, pointing at Charlie. "You're done. Get out of my rental, now." The salesman's jaw dropped. "That guy's nobody. He said he wanted to rent the car." The manager's face turned stone. "And if he wanted to buy the whole damn building, we'd gift wrap it." "Oh," then the manager turned to Charlie with a sudden shift in tone. "Sir, deepest apologies for the misunderstanding. Here are the keys to your Lamborghini." Charlie stood silent, still trying to process what had just happened. He took the keys and left with the car. That night, Charlie and Claire cruised through the streets of Sacramento in the Lamborghini. Claire glanced at him, smiling. "I sometimes don't understand how you do these things, Charlie." Charlie gave a small smile, eyes fixed on the road. "It's just a rental, Claire. I would do anything for you. I love you more than anything in the whole world." "I love you too," she whispered. The moment lingered, brief, warm, fragile. Then Charlie's phone buzzed with a message. One look at the screen and his heart skipped a beat. "Aunt Lena's condition is critical. Transfer needed. $1 million. His heart sank. "Claire," he said quietly, "do you think your grandma would help if I asked her for $1 million? Claire looked at him in shock, already knowing the answer. "You haven't had a real job in years, Charlie. She won't even let you in the house without sneering." Charlie's voice was quiet, desperate. "But today's her birthday, right?" Claire nodded hesitantly. "Yeah, why?" He took a breath. "Then maybe she'll show some mercy. If not for me, then for Aunt Lena." Claire didn't look convinced, but she didn't stop him. That was the moment Charlie decided. He was going to show up to Grandma Wilson's 70th birthday party, to beg, to plead, and to try and save the only person who'd ever called him family. The luxurious Wilson estate was brightly lit. Tonight was the 70th birthday celebration for Mrs. Wilson, the matriarch of the family. Many grandchildren and in-laws presented gifts. "Grandma, I heard you love tea. This century-old tea is worth $500,000 and is my birthday gift to you. Grandma, I know you're a devout Christian. This crystal cross is carved from pure obsidian and is worth $700,000. Mrs. Wilson looked at the various expensive presents and laughed, filling the whole family with joy. At that moment, Mrs. Wilson's eldest grandson-in-law, Charlie Wade, suddenly said, "Grandma, could you lend me $1 million? Aunt Lena from the orphanage has kidney failure and needs money for treatment." The entire Wilson family was stunned. Everyone stared at Charlie in disbelief. Was this live-in son-in-law out of his mind? It was Mrs. Wilson's birthday. Not only had he not prepared any gifts, but he even dared to ask her to lend him $1 million? 3 years ago, the late Mr. Wilson had found Charlie from who knows where and insisted on marrying him to his eldest granddaughter, Clare Wilson. At the time, Charlie was penniless, much like he was now. After the two got married, the old master passed away. Since then, the Wilson family has been deliberately trying to drive Charlie out. But Charlie seemed indifferent, unmoved by their insults. So he had remained the live-in son-in-law all this time. Asking Mrs. Wilson for money now was an act of desperation. Aunt Lena from the orphanage that had taken Charlie in needed dialysis and a kidney transplant, which would cost at least $1 million. He really had no choice but to ask Mrs. Wilson. He thought that since it was her birthday, she might be in good spirits and willing to help. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Wilson's laughter vanished in an instant. Her face darkened as she threw the teacup in her hand to the ground and shouted angrily, "You bastard, are you here to celebrate my birthday or to borrow money?" Charlie's wife, Clare, hurried forward and explained to Lady Wilson, "Grandma, Charlie is ignorant. Don't be upset." She then tried to pull Charlie aside. At that moment, Claire's cousin, Wendy, sneered, "Sis, look at what kind of trash you married. Gerald and I just got engaged and he already gave Grandma an obsidian cross. It's hilarious your husband didn't bring any gifts and still has the nerve to ask Grandma for money." "Exactly, Charlie, my man. We're both son-in-laws of the Wilson family." "As the eldest, you're a real failure," remarked Gerald White, Wendy's fiancé and the young heir of a wealthy local family. Although Gerald was about to marry Wendy, he felt her looks paled in comparison to Charlie's wife, Clare. Clare was a renowned beauty in Orris Hill, but seeing her married to this worthless, broke man really irritated Gerald. This kind of trash should be kicked out of our family as soon as possible. Yeah, he's completely ruined the Wilson reputation. I bet borrowing money is just an excuse. He really wants to purposely ruin Lady Wilson's birthday celebration. Charlie couldn't help clenching his fists as the entire Wilson clan targeted and insulted him. If not for his savior's medical expenses, he would have turned and left this gaudy, fake place. However, remembering his late father's teachings to always repay kindness, he suppressed the humiliation and said to Mrs. Wilson, "Grandma, saving a life is more virtuous than any gift. Please show mercy." Someone snorted coldly, "Wade, quit trying to guilt-trip Grandma. If you want to save someone, figure it out yourself. Don't make Grandma pay for your hero complex. Who do you think you are?" It was Wendy's brother, Harold. The siblings always resented Clare for outshining them and loved seizing chances to mock Charlie. Looking embarrassed, Clare said, "Grandma, Charlie lost his dad at 8. Aunt Lena from the orphanage raised him. He just wants to repay her kindness. Please help him." Mrs. Wilson replied darkly, "Help him? Fine. But only if you divorce him and marry Mr. Jones. Do that, and I'll give him $1 million immediately." She was referring to Wendell Jones, who had been pursuing Clare. The Jones family was upper class in Orris Hill, much more influential than the Wilsons, and Lady Wilson always wanted to curry their favor. Just then, the butler ran in, announcing loudly, "Mr. Jones sent a birthday present, a turquoise amulet worth $3 million. Mrs. Wilson was overjoyed and blurted out, "Bring it here, quickly, let me see." The butler immediately handed over a stunning turquoise amulet. Everyone present gasped in amazement. The amulet was a vivid shade of blue-green, crystal clear without any impurities, and looked like a genuine top-quality piece. Gerald, who had gifted the obsidian cross, looked a bit awkward seeing this amulet. Unexpectedly, Wendell, who had no real connection to the Wilson family, had been so generous. Mrs. Wilson happily played with the amulet, saying merrily, "Oh, Mr. Jones is so thoughtful. If only he could be my grandson-in-law, it would be a dream come true." She then looked up at Clare. "What do you say to my condition? Will you consider it?" Clare shook her head. "Grandma, I won't divorce Charlie." Mrs. Wilson's expression instantly darkened. She angrily cursed, "Don't give me that attitude. You insist on clinging to this trash. Get him out of my sight. He's not allowed at my birthday banquet." Charlie was completely disappointed. He had no desire to stay with the Wilsons any longer. He said to Claire, "I'm going to the hospital to check on Aunt Lena." Claire hurriedly replied, "Then I'll come with you." Mrs. Wilson snapped, "If you leave too, I won't consider you my granddaughter anymore. Take your parents and get out of the Wilson house with this loser." Claire looked startled, not expecting such harsh words from Lady Wilson. Charlie quickly said, "You stay. Don't worry about me." Before Claire could respond, he turned and walked out. Harold laughed behind him. "Oh, my dear brother-in-law, you're leaving hungry. Are you going to beg on the streets for dinner? Don't completely ruin our family's reputation. Here, I've got a coin. You can buy a sandwich to eat." He took out a coin and threw it at Charlie's feet. The entire Wilson family burst into laughter. Charlie gritted his teeth and left without looking back. Rushing to the hospital, Charlie immediately went to the billing office, wanting to inform them that the payment for Aunt Lena's medical expenses would be delayed by another 2 days. However, when he asked the nurse, Charlie was suddenly told that Aunt Lena had been transferred overnight to the best hospital in Eastcliff. Shocked, he hurriedly asked, "How much does it cost? I'll find a way to pay." The nurse replied, "A total of $3 million is needed. $1 million has been paid, but there's still a gap of $2 million. It's due in a week." "Who paid the first $1 million?" Charlie asked. The nurse shook her head. "I don't know." As Charlie was trying to figure it out, he turned and saw a man in a black suit with gray hair, about 50 years old, standing behind him. The man bowed and said, "Young master, you have suffered for so many years." Charlie frowned, his demeanor changing. He asked coldly, "Are you Stephen Thompson?" The man replied in surprise, "Mr. Wade, you still remember me." Charlie's expression froze. He murmured, "Of course I remember. I remember every one of you. Back then you forced my parents to take me and flee Eastcliff. During that time they died unexpectedly, and I became an orphan. So why are you looking for me now?" Stephen said remorsefully. "Young master, when your father passed away, Mr. Wade was also extremely sad. He's been searching for you all these years. Now that we've found you, he wants you to come back with me." Charlie said coldly, "You can go. I will never see him again in my life." Stephen asked, "Young master, do you still blame Mr. Wade?" "Of course," Charlie replied, emphasizing each word. "I will never forgive him as long as I live." Stephen sighed. "Before I came, Mr. Wade said you might not forgive him. At least he's self-aware." Charlie scoffed. Stephen continued, "Mr. Wade knows you've suffered over the years. He wants to compensate you. If you don't want to return, he'll buy the largest company in Orris Hill and give it to you. He also asked me to give you this card. The password is your birthday." He handed over a platinum card. "Mr. Wade, there are only 5 such cards in the country." Charlie shook his head. "Take it away. I don't want it." Stephen pressed. "Mr. Wade, for Miss Lena, you still have a shortfall of $2 million in medical expenses. If you fail to pay, her life may be in danger." Charlie frowned. "Are you deliberately trying to manipulate me?" Stephen quickly said, "I wouldn't dare. If you accept this card, it will be more than enough to pay the medical expenses." Charlie asked, "How much money is on this card?" Mr. Wade said, "This card is just a little pocket money for you, not much. It has a total of $10 billion. $10 billion? Charlie was stunned. He knew his grandfather's family was wealthy, but as a young child he had no real concept of money. He only knew the Wade family was one of the top families in Eastcliff and the country. However, he never knew exactly how much they were worth, but now he understood. 10 billion was just pocket change. When considering the entire Wade family fortune, it was likely over $1 trillion. To be honest, Charlie was deeply moved. But thinking of his parents' deaths, he felt his grandfather couldn't shirk the blame. He couldn't forgive him. Stephen saw Charlie's inner conflict and quickly said, "Master, you are the heir to the Wade family. You deserve this money. Strictly speaking, it belongs to your father. Mr. Wade said if you're willing to return, you'll inherit the family's $1 trillion estate. If you don't want to go back, this money is for your living expenses. Oh, and Orris Hill's largest company, the $100 billion Emgrand Group, was acquired by the Wade family yesterday. All the shares are now in your name. You can go to Emgrand for the handover tomorrow." Charlie could hardly believe it. The Wade family's investment was huge. A $10 billion premium card and the $100 billion Emgrand Group. Although Orris Hill had its share of hidden talents and quiet power players, the only true powerhouse was Emgrand. Any family, including the Wilsons and Whites who humiliated him today, and the Joneses pursuing Clare, were small fry compared to Emgrand. It was the emperor of Orris Hill's business world, and unexpectedly, it was now his. Stephen handed Charlie a business card. "Mr. Wade, you may need some time to process this. I won't bother you further. Here's my number. Please call if you need anything." With that, Stephen turned and left. After Stephen left, Charlie remained in a daze, unsure if he should accept the Wade family's compensation. But thinking it over, considering the humiliation he'd endured for the past decade, especially from the Wilsons, wasn't this payment from the Wades fair recompense? Why shouldn't he take it? Moreover, Aunt Lena urgently needed $2 million for her medical expenses. Mind made up, Charlie gritted his teeth and returned to the hospital's billing office. "Hello, I need to deposit $2 million. He swiped the card and entered the password. The transaction went through, and the $2 million was easily credited to the hospital's account. Charlie felt like he was in a fog. Had he really become a billionaire just like that? He headed home, still in a muddled state. Clare and her parents no longer lived in the Wilson villa, but in a very ordinary apartment building. They'd been driven out after Clare married him, following Ben Wilson's death. His mother-in-law was yelling, "That good-for-nothing Charlie. He made us lose face today. Clare, if you don't divorce him, your grandma will kick you out of the Wilson group." Clare replied calmly. "Then I'll find another job." Her mother snapped, "What's so great about that loser? Why can't you divorce him and marry Wendell instead? If you wed Wendell, our family can hold our heads up high." Clare's father chimed in, "She's right. Marry Wendell and will instantly become treasured in your grandma's eyes. She'll be falling over herself to curry favor with you every day." Clare stood firm. "Don't say another word. I won't divorce Charlie. You stubborn child," her mother fumed. The two had just managed to persuade Charlie inside when they saw him. Both his father-in-law and mother-in-law had sour expressions. His mother-in-law snorted coldly, "A worthless piece of trash, and he has the nerve to show his face." Charlie sighed inwardly. His mother-in-law had always looked down on him. But what would she think if she knew he was now the boss of the Emgrand Group with $10 billion in cash? However, Charlie wasn't ready to reveal his identity yet. He'd been away from the Wade family for many years. Who knew what the family was like now? What if someone in the family were against him if he exposed himself? Better to keep a low profile for now. So he lowered his head and said apologetically, "Mom, I'm sorry for causing you trouble today." His mother-in-law scolded, "You're more than trouble. You're killing the three of us. Can't you be a little self-aware and get out of our house?" Clare quickly interjected, "Mom, how can you talk like that? Charlie is your son-in-law." "Bullshit," her mother retorted bitterly. "I don't have such a worthless son-in-law. The farther away you go, the better." Clare pushed Charlie. "Hurry, go to the room." Charlie nodded gratefully and fled to their bedroom. He and Clare had been married for 3 years, but never truly together. Clare slept on the bed while he slept on the floor beside her. That night, Charlie couldn't fall asleep for a long time. The day's events were shocking, and it would take a while to process everything. Before bed, Clare said to him, "How is Aunt Lena? I still have over $100,000 in personal savings. You can take it to her tomorrow." Charlie replied, "No need. Someone already paid for Aunt Lena's treatment and sent her to Eastcliff." "Really?" Clare said in surprise. "So she is saved?" "Yes," Charlie said. "She has done good deeds and helped so many people throughout her life. Someone finally repaid her kindness." "That's good." Clare nodded and said to Charlie, "You can breathe a sigh of relief." "Yeah," Clare yawned. "I need to get some sleep. The company has a lot going on lately and I'm exhausted." Charlie asked, "What's happening at the company?" Clare explained, "Business isn't great. Grandma has always wanted to partner with a big corporation like the Emgrand Group, but the Wilson family is much weaker in comparison. People look down on us." Charlie suddenly thought of Emgrand and asked, "The Wilsons have no cooperation with Emgrand?" Clare laughed at him. "How could the Emgrand Group ever consider working with us? Even Wendy's fiancé Gerald and his family barely measure up to Emgrand's standards. Grandma is counting on them getting married so the Whites can help the Wilsons connect with Emgrand." Charlie nodded. So that was the Wilsons' plan. They were dying to work with Emgrand. However, Mrs. Wilson was dreaming if she thought it was possible. Little did she know he now owned the Emgrand Group. With that in mind, Charlie decided to take over Emgrand first, then give Clare a boost through the company. She had been bullied too much by the Wilsons. As her husband, it was his responsibility to help improve her standing in the family. Starting today, her husband was a changed man. He would never let anyone look down on her again. He vowed to make the entire Wilson family bow before her. Early the next morning, after Charlie finished cooking, he rode his little electric scooter to the Emgrand Group headquarters. He parked the scooter next to the company parking lot and had just locked it when a black luxury car slowly pulled into a space opposite him. Charlie glanced up and saw a young man and a woman exiting the car. The man was dressed in a high-end, stylish suit, while the woman was pretty in a slightly gaudy, coquettish way. It turned out to be Wendy and her soon-to-be fiancé, Gerald White, the eldest son of the wealthy White family. Charlie wasn't sure why they were at Emgrand, but to avoid trouble, he quickly tried to slip away unnoticed. Unfortunately, the sharp-eyed Wendy spotted him immediately. "Oh, brother-in-law," she called out loudly in an overly cordial tone. Despite wanting to escape, Charlie had no choice but to stop out of courtesy. As the two approached, he forced a smile. "Wendy, what brings you here?" Wendy giggled. "Gerald and I have a meeting with Doris Young, the vice chairman of the Emgrand Group." She gazed at Gerald admiringly. "His family has a lot of business with Emgrand. In the future, it'll benefit not only the Whites, but the Wilsons, too." This was news to Charlie. He'd only just inherited Emgrand and hadn't had time to familiarize himself with its dealings. But he hid his surprise and said smoothly, "You two make a perfect power couple. Beautiful and talented." Gerald looked at Charlie with contempt, feeling the injustice of it all. Just yesterday, Mrs. Wilson had cursed out this good-for-nothing man, and now here he was, grinning like an idiot. How could a stunning woman like Clare have married such a useless loser? If it weren't for him, Gerald would have pursued Clare relentlessly. How could he have ended up engaged to Wendy, who was inferior in every way? The thought irritated him, so he deliberately asked, "What did you come to the Emgrand Group for, Charlie?" Charlie replied casually, "I'm looking for a job." "A job?" Gerald sneered. "Why would you apply here, of all places?" Frowning, Charlie said, "What does my job search have to do with you?" Wendy chimed in, eager to join Gerald in mocking him. "Is he wrong, though? Do you even have a diploma to your name? Any accomplishments besides being good for nothing? The Emgrand Group wouldn't hire a waste like you even as a security guard. If you had any self-awareness, you'd go pick up trash on the street. At least you could make 2 or 3 grand a month." She tossed her empty drink bottle at Charlie's feet. "Hey, don't say I never look out for you. Pick that up and sell it for cash." Gerald smirked. "Even if you are garbage, you're still family, so I'll help you out. I happen to be friends with Emgrand's vice chairman. Why don't I put in a good word and have her set you up with a job cleaning toilets?" Charlie smiled coldly. "The kind of job I'm after is none of your concern. Worry about yourself. Emgrand is a major corporation. I doubt they'd work with low-quality trash like you." Gerald's face reddened with fury. "Who are you calling trash?" "You, obviously," Charlie said with disdain. Done with the conversation, he walked into the Emgrand Tower. "Hey, stop right there!" Gerald shouted, chasing after him. He caught up at the elevators, itching to teach the arrogant jerk a lesson with a few slaps to the face. But seeing that they were already inside the company headquarters, Gerald worried that causing a scene would anger his business partners. He had to shelve his plan to put Charlie in his place, at least for now. Gerald gritted his teeth. "I'll let it slide today, but you won't be so lucky next time." Charlie snorted coldly as he stepped into the elevator. "You think you're some big shot, Gerald? Believe me, you'll soon learn the price of arrogance." "Screw you," Gerald spat, moving to follow him. Wendy pulled him back, her voice dripping with contempt. "Don't take the same elevator as that trash, honey. You might catch his stench." Nodding, Gerald realized he couldn't do anything here. He said icily, "I'm letting you off the hook for now. Watch yourself next time." Charlie took the elevator straight to the top-floor chairman's office. Stephen had already made the arrangements, appointing a woman named Doris Young as Charlie's main point of contact. Doris was a well-known figure in Orris Hill, the city's most famous career woman. Beautiful and exceptionally capable, she had risen to become Emgrand's vice chairman at a young age, playing a key role in the company's success. With Emgrand now acquired by the Wade family and the former chairman stepping down, Doris had stayed on to assist the new boss. She was shocked when she saw how young and handsome Charlie was. Quickly composing herself, Doris said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, please come to my office." This was Charlie's first time meeting Doris Young, too. He had to admit she was gorgeous. In her late 20s, she had a gorgeous figure, alluring beauty, and a noble, capable demeanor. As Charlie sat at her desk, he said, "I won't be coming to Emgrand often in the future. I want you to take charge of the big picture here and don't reveal my identity to anyone." Doris could tell that the young man before her came from an extraordinary background. To his family, a company like Emgrand was mere pocket change. It made sense that he wouldn't want to manage it personally. She hurried to assure him, "Of course, Mr. Wade. If you ever need anything, just let me know." Just then, a female secretary knocked and entered. "Miss Doris, a man named Gerald White is here with his fiancée to see you. I'm with an important guest." "Have them wait," Doris instructed. Charlie asked, "Do you know this Gerald?" "His family is one of our business partners," Doris explained. "They rely heavily on us. They visited several times, always saying they want to strengthen ties." Eyes cold, Charlie declared, "From now on, Emgrand will have zero dealings with the White family. Suspend all current and upcoming collaborations. If they earn even a cent from us, you'll be packing your bags, Vice Chairman." Doris paled, realizing instantly that the Whites must have offended the young master somehow. She nodded vigorously. "Don't worry, Mr. Wade. I'll give the order right away to cut ties with them completely." "Good. Tell them Emgrand doesn't work with low-quality trash." Then security throws them out. Outside, Gerald and Wendy waited, eager to cozy up to Doris and make the White family a strategic partner of the powerful Emgrand group. To their shock, Doris's secretary arrived with several security guards in tow. "Will Miss Doris have time to see us?" Gerald asked hopefully. The secretary gave him an icy look. "I'm afraid not. Deputy Doris says Emgrand will not be cooperating with low-quality trash. Effective immediately, we're canceling all joint projects with your family." "What did you say?" Gerald was stunned. Why did that sound so familiar? Then it hit him. Charlie had said the exact same thing to him in the parking lot. What did Doris mean by this? Why would Emgrand suddenly cut ties with the White family? Gerald's brain couldn't process it. Terminate all cooperation just like that? Over half the White family's profits came through Emgrand. Losing that partnership would slash their strength in half overnight. Refusing to accept it, he shouted, "I want to see Miss Doris. I demand to speak with her face to face." The secretary replied coldly, "I'm sorry, but Vice Chairman Young will not be seeing you. You are banned from setting foot in Emgrand Tower from now on." "Is this some kind of sick joke?" Gerald seethed. "We're Emgrand's long-term partners. You can't just end things out of the blue." Ignoring him, the secretary turned to the guards. "Escort them out." The head of security grabbed Gerald's wrist and wrenched it behind his back. Gerald yelped in pain as the man barked, "You heard her! Get lost! If you keep making trouble, we'll be forced to take more drastic measures. You're just a security guard. How dare you yell at me? Do you have any idea who I am?" The words barely left Gerald's mouth before the guard's palm cracked across his face. "I don't care who you are, punk. Here at Emgrand, you're nothing." Gerald reeled from the stinging slap, his cheek on fire. He was about to explode with rage when his phone suddenly rang. It was his father. "Gerald, what the hell did you do?" the older man roared as soon as he picked up. "Emgrand is severing all ties with us. Who did you piss off over there?" "Dad, I swear I didn't offend anyone," Gerald said, his voice pained. "I just came to see Miss Young, but they wouldn't even let me meet with her." "Well, Emgrand says they're dropping us because you're a worthless piece of trash. The family is going to take a massive hit thanks to you. Get your ass back here and explain yourself to your grandpa. Now." Shell-shocked, Gerald let the security team hustle him out the front gate. A horrible suspicion began to dawn on him. He turned to Wendy, asking shakily, "You don't think? Could this have anything to do with your loser brother-in-law? Does he have some kind of connection to Emgrand?" "What?" Wendy was taken aback by Gerald's words. Thinking it over carefully, it might indeed be related to her deadbeat brother-in-law. However, he was obviously a loser. Shaking her head, she said flatly, "How could he have anything to do with Emgrand? He's not even qualified to clean their toilets." "You're right," Gerald nodded. Remembering his furious father, he added sullenly, "I'd better get home fast." News of Emgrand cutting ties with the White family spread like wildfire through Orris Hill. Though no one knew the exact reason, it was clear the Whites had royally pissed off Emgrand. The fallout was catastrophic. The White family's strength plummeted by over half, dropping them from near the top tier to the bottom rungs of the second tier. When old Mrs. Wilson heard, she shook with rage. She wanted to annul Wendy's engagement to Gerald, but realized the Whites, while weakened, still outclassed the Wilsons. Offending them would be disastrous. Bitterly, she shelved the idea for now. Meanwhile, in Doris's office, Charlie reviewed what had just transpired. He was quite impressed with her handling of the situation. "Doris, you did an excellent job," he said, satisfied. "Starting today, I'm doubling your salary." Doris leapt up, stunned and elated. "Thank you so much, Mr. Wade." Charlie nodded. "I also have 2 announcements I need you to make. First, announce the change in Emgrand's ownership and the appointment of a new chairman. Don't reveal their full identity, just that their surname is Wade. That's all anyone needs to know. Second, announce that Emgrand is investing $2 billion to build a 6-star hotel in Orris Hill. We'll be accepting bids from local construction and decoration firms to partner on the project. The Wilson Group's main business was interior design and decoration. Lady Wilson dreamed of hitching their wagon to Emgrand's star. Whichever company won that contract would become the darling of their industry. Now that Charlie owned Emgrand, of course, he'd throw some juicy benefits his wife's way. The 2 announcements from Emgrand Group rocked all of Orris Hill. Hearing that Emgrand had changed hands, the Wilson family was dying to know why the White family had been kicked to the curb. It seemed the group's mysterious new owner looked down on even top-tier families like the Whites. But who was this Mr. Wade character? Just how loaded was he? Emgrand was worth hundreds of billions. Buying and selling on that scale dwarfed even the wealthiest tycoon in Orris Hill. Countless families scrambled to get in Mr. Wade's good graces, hoping to marry off their daughters to this enigmatic billionaire bachelor. On top of that, Emgrand's plan to invest $2 billion in a new hotel had the city's entire construction and design industry frothing at the mouth. $2 freaking billion. Even a few leftover scraps from that juicy pie would be a windfall. Companies were falling over themselves for a piece of the action. Naturally, this included the money-hungry Lady Wilson. She was practically giddy with excitement. What an incredible opportunity! If the Wilsons could snag a contract, it would rocket them straight to the top. She immediately ordered a family meeting that evening at the estate to strategize how to get their foot in the door with Emgrand's huge project. Attendance was mandatory. That night, the Wilson family gathered at their luxurious villa. Since Lady Wilson demanded everyone's presence, Charlie tagged along. He knew the scheming matriarch was angling for a slice of Emgrand's huge deal. He figured this was the perfect chance to give his wife Clare a nice status boost. The second he walked in with Clare, her douchey cousin Harold sneered, "Well, well, Charlie, you sure got some brass balls showing your face in front of Grandma again." Clare shot him an icy glare. "Can it, Harold? Grandma said the whole Wilson family had to be here tonight. In case you forgot, Charlie is my husband. That makes him part of this family, like it or not." "Only half the family," Harold scoffed. "Let's be real, cuz. He's just a freeloading live-in son-in-law." Charlie turned to Clare, touching his nose. "Never mind him, honey. Don't waste your time. Let's head in before we keep Grandma waiting." Clare nodded, not giving Harold another glance as she walked inside with Charlie. Harold's face darkened, watching them go. They'd see soon enough. In the conference hall, Charlie and Clare found seats in the corner. Mrs. Wilson soon took her place at the head of the table, banging it for attention. "For years, the Wilson family has been waiting for a golden opportunity," she declared with gusto, "one that could make us the wealthiest clan in Orris Hill. At last, that chance has arrived," she continued forcefully. "Emgrand Group just announced a $2 billion project. Whichever company lands a partnership contract stands to profit hugely. Plus, this is Emgrand's first major deal since the ownership change. It's a perfect opening for the Wilsons. If we can collaborate with Emgrand and impress their mysterious new chairman, the sky's the limit for our family's future." Despite Lady Wilson's energy, the room seemed underwhelmed. Truth was, the Wilsons had been angling to work with Emgrand forever. And for just as long, Emgrand had snubbed them completely. What were the odds they'd get a piece of this huge new project now? Met with stony silence, Mrs. Wilson snapped, "What? Cat got your tongues? Don't tell me you're not confident we can score even a tiny slice of a $2 billion pie." Everyone exchanged nervous glances, no one daring to speak. Her anger rising, the iron-willed matriarch declared through gritted teeth, "All right, I'll lay it on the line. Whoever brings in the $30 million partnership with Emgrand gets named the new director of Wilson Group. End of story." Stunned faces gaped back at her. Mrs. Wilson had always ruled with an iron fist. never appointing an official successor. The director role wielded immense power, all but securing its holder as the future head of Wilson Group. Dangling the position as an incentive showed how desperately Lady Wilson wanted in on Emgren's deal. But as juicy as the director spot was, winning it seemed impossible. The Wilson clan all knew that securing the deal with Emgren was a pipe dream. Emgren's execs wouldn't give Mrs. Wilson the time of day, let alone agree to a partnership. The meeting hall fell into uncomfortable silence, no one willing to chase a prize so laughably out of reach. Seeing their hesitation, Mrs. Wilson demanded angrily, "You're all part of the Wilson family. Don't you want to do your part to help us succeed?" She zeroed in on Harold. "Harold, I'm putting you in charge of this." Harold laughed nervously. "Grandma, the Emgren Group just cleaned out Gerald's family, and they're way stronger than us. How are we supposed to land a contract with them, idiot?" Mrs. Wilson snapped. "Giving up without even trying? You're even more useless than Charlie." Deep down, the Iron Lady was sick of settling for second-rate status. She dreamed of catapulting the Wilson family to the next level, and this Emgren project was their one shot. No matter how difficult, she refused to let it slip away. She'd assumed Harold, as the eldest grandson, would jump at the chance to prove himself. His spineless refusal infuriated her. Harold felt trapped. Who in their right mind would take on such an impossible task? Emgren's people would probably boot him out the door. He'd fail miserably and become the laughingstock of Orris Hill. No way in hell was he agreeing to that. After ripping Harold a new one, Mrs. Wilson barked, "Anyone else have the guts to step up and take this on? Speak up!" Charlie gently elbowed Clare and whispered, "Babe, you should volunteer for this." "Are you nuts?" Clare hissed. "There's no way Emgren would partner with some small-time firm like us." Charlie just smiled confidently. "Trust me, you can totally land this deal." "Wait, seriously?" Clare asked, surprised. "Absolutely," Charlie assured her. "I have total faith in you. Seize this chance and your status in the family will skyrocket." Though perplexed, Clare found herself believing him. Almost in a trance, she stood up and declared, "Grandma, I'm willing to give it a shot." Clare's declaration left the entire Wilson clan dumbfounded. They all thought she'd lost her mind. Talk about a death wish, hogging the spotlight like that. What could possibly come from it besides utter humiliation? Emgren Group was the biggest conglomerate in Orris Hill. What would they want with some small fry like the Wilsons? Anyone volunteering for this guaranteed train wreck was doomed to fail. Harold couldn't resist mocking her. "Clare, you seriously think you have a shot at landing a contract with Emgren?" Wendy joined in, sneering, "Get real, Clare. You know your place, and you know where Emgren sits. Strolling in there half-cocked is just going to drag our family name through the mud." Another voice chimed in, "Totally. When Emgren throws her out on her butt, the Wilsons will be the laughingstock of the whole city." Clare's cheeks burned with embarrassment. Ever since marrying Charlie, her standing in the family had plummeted. She felt increasingly sidelined, nearly pushed out entirely. Even her parents were targets of constant ridicule. Deep down, Clare hoped scoring this Emgren project would cement her position and let her parents hold their heads high again. But now, getting raked over the coals by the whole clan, her confidence wavered. She shot Charlie a pained look. Why had she let him talk her into this? If she'd known it would blow up so spectacularly, she never would have stood up in the first place. Hearing their snarky commentary, Mrs. Wilson seethed with rage. After repeatedly pleading for someone to step up, no one had the guts. Now that Clare finally volunteered, these ingrates were dumping ice water on her head. The old matriarch had never been Clare's biggest fan, but at least the girl was trying to help shoulder the burden, unlike the rest of these spineless clams, especially Harold. Her darling grandson had really let her down this time. With that, Mrs. Wilson's attitude toward Clare shifted dramatically. "Enough," she barked. "Since the rest of you are too chicken to try, shut your mouths. Clare will be the one to handle negotiations with Emgren Group. End of discussion." Clare swallowed hard. "Don't worry, Grandma. I'll give it my all, I promise." Harold scoffed under his breath. "What's the point? You're just going to crash and burn and humiliate the family." Charlie shot back with a smirk. "Geez, Harold, why so negative? You don't think the Wilsons are good enough to partner with Emgren?" Caught off guard that Charlie dared speak up, and seeing Mrs. Wilson's darkening expression, Harold backpedaled. "That's not what I meant. I just don't think Clare has a prayer of pulling this off." "All right then," Charlie grinned slyly. How about a little wager? If Claire manages to open negotiations, you get down on your knees in front of everyone and knock your head on the floor 3 times, admitting you were dead wrong. But if she strikes out, I'll do the groveling. What do you say? Harold barked out a laugh. You're on, loser. No way I'll lose to a piece of trash like you. Charlie nodded, looking smug. Okay, the whole family is a witness. If either of us welches, we're basically wishing death on our parents and grandparents. He made sure to emphasize grandparents, knowing Harold wouldn't dare back out if it meant cursing his beloved grandma to an early grave. Mrs. Wilson would have his head. Fine by me, Harold crowed, oblivious to the trap he'd just walked into. In his mind, losing was impossible. Y'all heard it. Get ready to watch this bum kneel to me. Claire was stunned. She kept signaling Charlie with her eyes to drop it, but he paid no attention. Mrs. Wilson couldn't care less about their little pissing contest. Her sole focus was getting the Wilsons on Emgran's partner list. If Claire pulled that off, she wouldn't even blink if Harold had to call Charlie daddy. Enough, she declared. Claire, you have 3 days to land that contract. This meeting is adjourned. Can Charlie use his power to help Claire? What will the Wilsons do when they find out Charlie is a billionaire? Will Charlie take the high road or seek revenge?
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.